Well, hello there guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started here in about 30 seconds, so make sure to stop by, share the stream if you can, and we'll jump right in. We are going to be playing Pride of Nations today, so I really am curious to see how it's going to go. We definitely want to get everybody's feedback if possible and jump into one of these interesting campaigns. So there's of course the Grand Campaign, and you guys can see here how massive the Grand Campaign actually is in Pride of Nations. It's 1,680 turns. I really do enjoy it, but what I much prefer are the other campaigns, the Indian Mutiny, the Risorgimento, the American Civil War, of course, the Franco Prussian War, and of course we've got the 1880 campaign. This one is from 1880 to 1920, so the early 20s. And this one is 960 turns. Some massive, massive campaigns here. We've also got the Second Boer War and the Russo-Japanese War. This one, of course, would be Japan against Russia. For those of you that are here now, welcome to the stream, and I definitely want your help deciding essentially which one of these we're going to go with. So if anybody wants to go ahead and put a suggestion, let us know. I think we're going to try the Indian Mutiny first. And of course, it explains here in the mid-1850s, a combination of events and decisions by the British East India Company were to lead the Indian subcontinent into a perfect storm. The storm was to catch the British Empire completely by surprise. The resulting war was to see the largest deployment of British troops from the end of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815 until the Second Boer War in 1899. So once again, guys, if you have any suggestions, and we're just getting people here now, so welcome everybody. Looks like we've got 2 people in both the YouTube channels and a few in Twitch as well. So good to see everybody, of course. And I think we're going to go ahead and start with the Indian Mutiny. So let's pick it. And we're going to play as the British here against the Mughal Empire, or really the Mughal revolts. So as you can see here, in Meerut, a major cantonment north of India, the 3rd Light Cavalry Regiment of the British East India Company Army rebelled against its British officers after a punishment parade for the native troops who refused to use the new greased Enfield rifle cartridge. The cartridge was rumored to have cow or pig fat, offensive to both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. The officers attempted to regain control of the men on the parade ground, but to no avail. The sowars and sepoys of the various native regiments stationed in Meerut roamed the city, killing Europeans, looting and burning the residences of British officers. Many Europeans were saved by their servants and other loyal natives, but many others died horrible deaths butchered by the mobs. Eventually, after releasing all of the prisoners from the jail and breaking open the treasury, the 3rd Light Cavalry rode off to Delhi, asking to reinstall the old Mughal Empire on its throne. So we're, of course, going to have to fight back here, try to regain control of the country from the rebels, and it's certainly not going to be easy. I'm actually just taking a look here at the different units we have. It looks like right now we just have basic infantry units. They're all locked more or less, and we need to start moving north, of course, to take on the enemy right here. Let's take a look, see if these guys are locked. I think they are. I think we're going to have to probably wait a turn before all of these units do actually unlock, and we can get started here. So just hello to everybody, of course. We've got a few people here. Hello, Wavell. How are you doing, my friend? So I think we're going to go ahead and just basically end the turn. I will see if there's any actual things we can play. I will also warn you guys, we've turned the sound off. Now, the reason being that the sound in this game, while awesome, is actually quite loud on the stream, so I didn't want us to have to worry about that. Now, interestingly enough, we can also change our research, our trade, government, society. This is one of the AGEODS games where you really have a lot of choices, just quite a lot of choices in terms of what you want to do. Now, of course, our goal is to retake these areas from the enemies. There are going to be a lot more, though. So, as you can see the East India Company Army rebels. We've already seen that message. We're going to end the turn, and we're going to hope that our men can start merging together soon and start taking on these members of the East India Company. Of course, we have to remember that the East India Company was not just British units. There were a number of other units, a lot of them Indian natives, Indian native soldiers, essentially. So when you have an organization like this, you can start to have a lot of problems. It looks like our first general has popped up here, Archdale Wilson from the East India Company. Now, his provided command is only 2, so quite frankly, this is not a very good general. He's got 88 right here against 110. Now, this is just the attack power, the attack value. It doesn't actually mean there's only 88 men in the brigade. So I think what I'm going to do with this guy, and these guys are locked still, I'm going to just keep him here on a defensive measure. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to stay here and hope that the enemy slips up and makes a mistake. That's my biggest goal there. And as for the rest of these guys, well, unfortunately, none of them can move this turn yet. Eventually, we definitely want to start moving them. In fact, we might be able to take out some natives right here, the Calcutta Brigade, but we really, really need a commander. And it looks like we may have gotten our first commander here, Sir Thomas Franks. Required command is 9, but his provided command is 0. That's a little strange. I'm actually going to take out these locked units, and we'll take another look at that. So required command, provided command 0. We'll take a look here at the military aspect. There might be an issue here. Build fort, build depot, destroy rail. No, and we're already part of an army. So I think what we're going to do here is we are going to go ahead and build a depot here in Calcutta. And we're also going to go on the offensive if we can. If not, that's okay. I'll wait a little bit. We also want to go ahead and try to stop these problems before they even begin. So if I have any units that can move at this point, I'm going to move them into this area that's clearly more loyal to the Mughals right now than they are to the British Crown. Shame, shame indeed. All right, we've got another general here, but of course he's still locked. So it's going to take a while to move Patrick Grant. And most of our units down here in the south are also still locked. I'm not sure how many decisions we get during this particular war, but as you can see, with Pride of Nations, there's a lot more options, a lot more industry and commerce, and we're actually playing one of the campaigns. We could play the entire game as one of the nations, but it's over 1,000 turns. I mean, the replay value in this game is massive. Just over 1,000 turns of gameplay. Here, I think it's only 40, so I think we have a chance of actually getting through it, or at least hoping that we can get through it. All right, so there we go. It's a British defeat. So right away, the enemy attacked us, guys. Unbelievable. And I want to see here the casualties. So we lost 3,536 men. It was an absolute slaughter of our men. We had 4,262. And in fact, you can see here that the enemy actually took some prisoners from us. So clearly not the greatest situation in the world. And as you can see, percentage of units which were supplied. So they got perfect supply. We got perfect supply. But with an army of nearly 18,000 led by Mirza Mughal, I'm not at all surprised that they beat us. Looks like our Bengal Brigade put up a good fight, but Sahib Alam Badur Mirza Mughal absolutely crushed us there. And we didn't get much out of it. We killed 2,000 of the enemy. Also, I would imagine the rain makes it much harder to load a rifle cartridge. And right now, we want to decide what we're going to do. So I think we actually lost that general, at least temporarily. And, oh no, here he is. So Archdale Wilson has retreated, although he's retreated into Mughal territory. So this guy has just had the worst of luck right now. We're still waiting for a lot of our units to unlock, essentially. And this could take a while. It really depends on just how long it takes to mobilize them. And depending on the campaign you're playing, could take quite a while. What we might actually start doing in this particular Let's Play is, since we're doing a Pride of Nations gameplay video, or Let's Play video here, we might switch between a few campaigns so you guys get the idea of how many different campaigns you can actually have in this game, and there are a lot. We just got the 6th Division here in Calcutta, though, and I think these guys might be a lot more useful. Yes, there we go. That's looking a lot better. So these guys may be able to actually help. And look at that, with Sir Henry Havelock, we actually have even more control over this unit. I'm definitely going to go on the offensive if I can. If not, I'm at least going to defend with no chance of retreat. And in fact, we'll enter the structure. So we're basically entering the city here, is what that means, to get a little bit more defensive bonuses, as it were. Hey, Evil Man, how you doing? Get the Gurkhas, a good suggestion. How much is Deadlock going to cost? I have no idea. No idea. And hello everybody on Steam or Twitch, etc. For those of you guys that are wondering why we still have the Battlestar Galactica Deadlock live stream still up, it's going to be a really big stream, so we're keeping that up. So this week we're going to have a number of Let's Plays, but if you see Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, just realize we'll probably be playing another game until the 9th, but yeah, stop in. So if anybody has any suggestions of what wars they want to see, we'll absolutely take them, and we'll jump into those wars here in Pride of Nations. For now, I think I'm going to end the turn it over to the enemy, and hope for the best. I'm actually going to go look for more generals down here. And unfortunately, these guys are still not unlocked. It's going to take them a little while to really get ready here. And we shall end the turn. All right, once again, another British defeat here. The Battle of Lucknow. Sorry, we're not in Eastern Europe. We're in India, so it's definitely not Lucknow. Lucknow, and it looks like we've lost 3,485 men, 180 horses, and 8 cannons. The enemy, we only killed 153. I mean, that is horrible. So right now, the enemy is definitely winning. Thankfully, at Calcutta, it looks like we're still holding strong. We lost no men at all, and we destroyed the enemy army, 2,562 men and 512 cavalry. Very, very good shooting there. And these are the kind of armies we need to quash this rebellion, to absolutely just squash it and destroy it. We're going to need this kind of movement. So right now I'm going to let my boys go ahead and do their thing. I think they're ready to move, and I think we want to start moving, basically. I think this area right here in the northeast seems to be not very well defended, so I might go ahead and, let's see, no, I don't want to move there. We should have a rail system as well. Maybe not yet. So I'm going to actually get to one of these cities that are close to the border, but not actually there. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get to Benares. And unfortunately, once again, we can't use the rail because we don't have enough transport points. One of the first things that the rebels are going to do, of course, is try and destroy the rail as quickly as they can. Let's go ahead, and I think we're going to take this guy, try to get him out of here, try to smuggle him out, or else he's going to get killed for sure. And we actually have some divisions here. We could actually start using these. Now, the problem is most of them are actually in a locked stage, so only a few of them are going to be able to actually pop out here. Let's take a look. And there's still going to be a penalty just because of the fact that we don't have a commander for these units. 30% penalty. Yeah, let's... Why not? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and attack Bahawalpur. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do any damage here at all, but I'm going in on a full assault. So this is definitely going to be an absolute crazy assault. And I'm going to do the same with this army. Once again, there's that 35% penalty, but I'm going to try to ignore it and keep on moving. And so we can see that a lot of our units are starting to actually, you know, sort of find their cause to fight. And I'm actually going to take this unit and try to get him over here to this general. And over here, we actually do have a little bit of rail left, but it doesn't seem to really make much of a difference. As you can see, we also have a Hindu female general that took up arms here, and this is, of course, Badur Mahal. For those of you that have ever played the Empire Total War series, you'll actually remember that character, which actually managed to lead Mughal India for a little while. Can you invade Alaska? Evil Man is asking. Yeah, you technically can. You definitely can. So basically, when you play the main campaign, and we will take a look at that in a second here, because we're trying to make this stream not just about one campaign, but to show you the entire game. If you play that main campaign, you can absolutely do a lot of different things, actually. So let's go ahead and jump back in here. We'll end the turn. We'll hope for the best. A few battles coming up. And once again, a British victory at the Peshawar Depot. Pretty nice. 153 men killed, though. We actually lost way more men than the enemy did, but we held our ground, so it's still technically a victory. Not much of a victory, though. And over here, this is the kind of victory we're looking for, guys. The Battle of Amritsar, we lost 300 men, and we killed nearly 3,000. Close enough. In fact, we did kill 3,000. 2,870 infantry, 820 cavalry. When you see horses lost, it's actually referring to just the cavalry in general. It's not just the horses that fall, but also the people riding the horses, as you could probably imagine. Look at that. Another victory at Cuttack Depot. Only 205 enemies killed, but still pretty good. And over here at Kanpur, we did get caught, but we only lost 25 men and 44 cavalry. Considering that we were trapped pretty good, and we did, of course, surrender. I hope that that these Mughals are nice to their prisoners. That's all I can say. And as you can see, they're taking more and more land now. Now, if we zoom out a bit, we can actually see how the Mughals, the rebellion is really starting to take hold. And this is kind of when the British started to realize, okay, there's a problem here. They're not friends. They're not our friends. They don't like us. And I think they're coming here to kill us. So I'm actually going to go ahead and actually keep this unit here. Let's merge these guys together, 220, and I'm going to take Sir George Anson and try to send him right there to merge with that army. And any other units I can bring, I'm going to bring, because actually this guy, Sir George Anson, is quite a good general, and I think he's going to do very, very well if he can get enough men to join him, of course. Let's see if we can go ahead. We're already on the attack, so we can probably continue that attack. Just making sure we don't have any other units that we could send. Ooh, I don't like those guys merging around over here. It's not good. Okay, we'll end the turn, guys. Hoping for the best once again. And for anyone wondering, the reason we've got the volume down is this game can get quite loud. So we've definitely turned the volume doan a little bit. And look at this, a wonderful victory at Boer War. We actually wiped out all of the enemy. Of course, they are just peasant rebels. We didn't lose a single man here, but that scimitar looks pretty vicious. But it looks like our Bengal Brigade, our cavalry brigades, all managed to fight the enemy. And as you can see, there's a lot of actual native Indians that chose to remain subjects of the British. So we still have plenty of native fighters, both Muslims and Hindus. So it's interesting to see how there's sort of that rivalry. Here at Bhagalpur, we won. We even took some prisoners, but we lost a lot more men than the enemy did. And a British defeat at Agra. Now, that's not what I was looking for. 3,895 men lost. Man, this central area over here is very, very dangerous, as you guys can imagine. And this is really where the main force of the rebellion has begun. Now, we've got Anson's army here, 541, and absolutely no penalty. In other words, we could send in this other unit here to join him, and he's not going to have a single penalty. Same with this guy. So I'm going to send him in over here. I'm going to send him in over here, and I'm going to send the general in over here because I want to try and hit this contingent before it gets really, really strong. I'm not sure if that's going to be able to work, but we can certainly find out. And hello to everybody, both on our Twitch and our live league. Ansbach. Hello, Ansbach. How are you doing? So we're going to take a look at one of these other wars very, very quickly here. I am going to, or very soon, I should say, I want to go ahead and end the turn and see if we can't take back some of this territory. We should be able to reconquer a piece of it, but we'll have to go ahead and see. All right, a British defeat, and that's Archdale Wilson. It was our first guy that fought. Of course, he ran away, but this was a pretty even fight. 410 men lost on the enemy side, 512 on our side, but it was, of course, a defeat. And a British victory in Darjeeling. Wonderful. And once again, we're staying under 1,000 casualties for each side, so these are more skirmishes than battles. Probably a group of enemies firing from the woods. We return fire. A tiny battle ensues, but nothing serious. And there we go. We've marched into Mirza Mughal's territory, guys. This is an army of 34,886 men, okay? We only have 17,000 men. We have won. We lost 2,562 and 512 cavalry, but we destroyed 6,713 and 3,298 cavalry units. I mean, it just goes to show you the power of British arms at this time. 33 companies we've taken prisoners, and one company equals 100 men. So we've just taken a ton of prisoners here. I think most of the men we didn't even end up shooting. They just, as soon as they got to our line, they dropped their rifle, put their hands in the air, and decided to rejoin the army. Because really, a tremendous amount of the fighters for the enemy side in this game are actually, interestingly enough, ex-members of the British East India Company. So they very well may have been fighting last week, and suddenly they've turned their backs on us. And this is kind of what occurs in these sorts of conflicts. So if you guys want me to go ahead and take a look at another war, let me know. For now, I want to go ahead and finish this turn. I'm getting obsessed now with this war. In fact, we can save this. But as soon as we start a new game, it will be overwritten. Now let's see. We probably have an opportunity to get some troops over here in Calcutta situated. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I want even more troops, though. 424, that's not enough attack power. We need even more. What about these guys? Oh, they're locked. These guys are locked too. All right, fair enough. We're going to take Campbell and move him into Dhaka. If we can't get to Dhaka, there must be a locked unit here. There is. All right, let's go to Dhaka. Once again, 42 days. Man, it's really not a very fun march, but you got to do what you got to do, as they say. And I believe with Anson, well, first of all, we should try and get as much, of course, as many resources as we can from this area in Panapat, but that's easier said than done. You can see that our officers are totally, we have no officers left essentially. They've all been assigned, and it's kind of understandable when you just take a look at what the heck is going on here. So I think that's acceptable for now. We're going to take this tiny army and move to Jakarpur, and I will move on an offensive stature or status. I'm not actually even sure if we can get a kill here or get a victory. We're going to have to wait and see, but I think it's going to be sufficient to at least scare the Mughals a bit. As you can see, you know, this map started off totally red. This green is growing more and more each turn, and we don't want that, not even a little bit. I hope that we could take back Jaipur here. It looks like we've taken back Agra. Last turn it was green, so that's good, but you can see these massive armies led by Mirza Mughal and his friends, and it's just going to make things a lot tougher. So we will end the turn here. And a British victory at Gorakhpur, and as you can see there, 4,766 men lost, as well as 2,000 horses. Another British victory at the Gaya Depot. And it looks like we're definitely retaking some of this land. Look at that, guys. So we're absolutely retaking some of the Mughal land, some of the Mughal territory here in northern India. And let me just take a look here. Let's see how the control is. So the control is 66% for us, and the loyalty of this area is completely pro-British. I think over here on the other side of the Gagara River is where things start getting pretty flaky. And the city is actually still in control of the Mughals, so we are besieging the city. We've also taken Panipat, and Panipat we've actually kept in our control. Now I'm going to drop these units into George Anson's army. George Anson's got a huge army here, and I am going to try to build a depot. I would really want to attack Mirza Mughal, but I think we want to be smart about this. Let's build a depot first. Let's get some supplies, get some food in us, and then of course we can consider attacking him. Now, over here, look at this. We've got another officer. This is looking good. Sir John Nicholson. Oh boy, we have to make sure we get some good commanders here. All right, Sir Henry Bernard. It's a start. And of course, 25% penalty, but I'll take it for now. I want to see if I can get this guy out of here. Why can't he move? We have a locked unit here. Actually, we have 2 locked units. So watch out for those locked units, guys, and they will unlock as the game progresses. For now, however, of course, they remain locked. It's kind of for our own benefit because we're going to need those units later. Over here, I'm going to keep besieging this city, and we're actually about to reach this city with some more men. So I hope that Sir Henry Havelock can actually hold on to the victory here and go for the win. Let's go ahead and end the turn. All right, a British victory at Benares, and 717 men killed on the enemy side, 512 on ours. Nothing really to write home about, and actually that was a pretty peaceful turn. We are still besieging this area, which I wish we weren't, but it is what it is. And I think I'm going to take my army of Sir George Anson. After this, I promise you, we'll move on to another war. I just really want to try to get an attack here on the Mirza Mughal. So I'm going to end the turn here, hope for the best. Oh boy, and a British defeat. I really wasn't hoping for that, and that was a huge battle, guys. Look at that. We lost 14,760 men and nearly 5,000 cavalry. The enemy lost nearly 20,000 men, nearly 4,000 cavalry, and 24 cannons. They did manage to take our men prisoner, though, in the Battle of Delhi, and of course Delhi being the capital of India was a defeat for the British. 135,000, that was the army we were facing, and we had 58,000 men. And it actually took 2 different rounds of battle for us to totally decide who won. We definitely killed and weakened this army, or killed a lot of men in this army and weakened it significantly, but not enough to get a victory, not even close. So now, of course, I'm going to pop out really quickly here, and we'll take a look at the other campaigns you can play. So, guys, we're jumping into new game. And as I mentioned before, so this is the Grand Campaign, and this is, without a doubt, the longest campaign you can get in any AGEOD games. 1,680 turns. It's just a massive campaign. It starts from 1850. I think it ends in about 1920. During this time, you've got to do a lot that you don't necessarily do in a lot of other AGEOD games. You've got to work with diplomacy. You've got to worry about specific resources. For instance, you might be able to corner the coffee market, etc. Let's just take a look here just for fun. We're going to click the Grand Campaign and just jump in quickly. Personally, I really prefer, and this is just me, I really prefer the more basic campaigns. So your choices are as follows. You can be Great Britain, you can be France, you can be Prussia, and it becomes Germany, obviously a little later on. You can be Austria, you can be the United States, popular choice, Russia, of course, Japan, Italy, the Ottoman Empire, or Belgium. Belgium is actually one of the nations that was added with a new patch fairly recently. When I say fairly recently, I think probably like a year or two ago, but definitely an interesting country to play. So that's just for the Grand Campaign. If we go down all the way to the bottom, we also have the 1880 campaign. This campaign is a little shorter, just barely shorter, and it goes from 1880 to 1920, 960 turns. And if we select that, once again, just for fun, the choices here are Great Britain, France, Germany, Austria, US, Russia, Japan, and Italy. So interesting choices with both campaigns. Obviously, that first one gives you a lot more to work with. What we just played now was the Indian Mutiny, and that's this right here. Quite a fun one as well. And like I said, if you guys want me to take a look at something, just shout it out. Well, don't shout it out, type it out. How about that? And I will try and get around to it. I'll try to take a look at it for you guys. We have the American Civil War, the Risorgimento, the Franco Prussian War, the Second Boer War, and the Russo-Japanese War. All really interesting conflicts. And obviously, if you just want to play the campaigns, or you can do that. If you just want to play the actual scenarios, that's another consideration. I kind of want to try the Russo-Japanese War, so if no one's going to oppose me, I think that's what we're going to jump into next. Of course, we are going to be playing as the Russians. Actually, let's play as the Japanese. Why not? So, Banzai, we're going to play as the Japanese. And, of course, we win as the Japanese by conquering Manchuria. If I wasn't so awful at sending units over here without a damn transport ship, then I would be just fine. So, let's see what happens here. We might be better off playing as the Russians. Let's take a look here. We're going to have to find the transport ships, send them out. This is not what I was looking for. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, so I don't want to have to worry about transports. We're going to have to be sore losers and play as the Russians. Although even then we're going to be stuck with a massive front. It's not that hard to use transports. I really just don't want to do it because it does take a little while, and I'm trying to get as much gameplay in as possible for this Let's Play. So let's do the Franco Prussian War. And of course, I'm going to make it extremely hard on myself and play as the French. So our only goal is to stop the Prussian forces from breaking through. There's any number of reasons why the Prussians eventually won this war, but it really wasn't much of a war. I mean, just look at the attack power on this unit, 9,094, and this is Prince Friedrich Karl von Proben, and he sure as hell doesn't give a damn that we have defenses set up in this area. He really couldn't care less. So I'm actually going to go ahead and end the turn and see what the first battles are like. Let's hope they're not too brutal. Oh, there we go. He's starting his attack already. Now, they actually made it to the gates of Paris in the actual Franco-Prussian War. They stopped just short, but they made it all the way to the gates of Paris, which is pretty amazing. And here at the Battle of Alsace, we've only got 54,000 men. We're facing an army of over 400,000. It was a French defeat, but just look at the numbers lost on both sides, guys. This was sort of a prelude to World War I. We lost 76,465 men, 7,000 cavalry, and 32 cannons. The enemy lost 46,535 men, 1,332 horses, and 24 conscript companies. You can also see the massive differences in all of the different countries being represented here. Of course, it's not just the Prussians. There's a few other states that are assisting the Prussians to win. And this was a fair battle. It was on a fair day, not raining, just straight up combat, and it was brutal. I mean, just look at that. Absolutely brutal. So they definitely broke through. Had this happened during World War I, Germany we might be speaking German right now, believe it or not. They might have won. Of course, by World War I, the French were a little more prepared, or a lot more prepared, than they were during the Franco Prussian War, and definitely were ready to repel some enemy attacks. So you can see those Prussians are moving in very strong, of course. And once again, welcome everybody. For anybody wondering, this game is called Pride of Nations. It is an AGEOD game, and one of many AGEOD games, and it's probably the AGEOD games with one of the AGEOD games with the longest campaign, the 1,600 turn campaign. I haven't actually met anybody who's actually beaten that campaign or even gotten to the end of it. So if you manage to get on that campaign, or if you manage to beat it, please let us know in the comments. We always like to hear those kind of stories. We're also moving this unit here, and it's only going to take 2 days because of the wonderful rail system. Also going to move the 12th Corps of Armée over here as well to try and stop the enemy. And we're even going to bring up the Armée d'Espagne, although the Armée d'Espagne, which means Army of Spain, it's only because it's on the border with Spain, is locked. So we can't actually do much with them. I think all we can do is hold on, keep on holding on if we can over here, and try and do our best to stop the enemy. So let's just make sure there's nothing here that we're missing. I don't think there is. We could, of course, save our turn, but not really interested in that. And of course, this is military sub mode. So this is where you can actually purchase new units, things like this. We also have decision mode and economic mode, and it works a little bit different here than it does in other AGEODS games. So once you actually enter, for instance, colonial mode, you can see your colonies, things like this. Once you enter military mode, of course, you can see specifically where your military is. And of course, once you enter the economic mode, this is where you start worrying about economics, but really it doesn't have a lot of, how can I put this, a lot of weight right now. This is mainly for the Grand Campaign, of course. But over here, for instance, if you play the Grand Campaign, these are all of the different things you could change. Of course, you've got your leaders here. The president of the council is Émilie Olivier. The emperor is Napoleon III. We've got a ton of industry and commerce. We can actually increase some taxes to try to make some more money. But just like any sort of political game, and this certainly is a political game, you've got to be very careful. You could end up really upsetting the wrong people, and suddenly you find yourself in a terrible situation where you're either run out of power or you're destroyed by your enemies because you're just not going to get what you're asking for. And that's certainly a possibility during this time period and in this game. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and end our turn here. Okay, we're once again defending. Now, at this point, I thought we were starting with enough men. I saw 151,000. No. Well, actually, it was. The enemy doubled us, though, in terms of numbers. Now, we were in a fortress, so we lost 37,000, and the enemy lost 33,000. I was thinking that since we were in a fortress, we were going to manage to come out of this with minimum casualties, but no, absolutely not. And there's also something to be considered about the actual Franco-Prussian War. The Prussians had much better military, actual weapons. They had a much better trained military at this time, and I don't think the French really expected what was happening to them. And as you can see here, once again defeated. But remember, our job is not necessarily to win the war. Our only real job during this campaign is exactly what the French job was during the actual Franco-Prussian War, and that is to stop the enemy from taking Paris. And they succeeded in that. Of course, with the Germans, like literally outside of Paris's gates, it wasn't a huge success, as you could probably imagine, and certainly one of the more embarrassing French conflicts, I would say, almost without a doubt. All right, guys, we're going to jump to another conflict now. So let's go ahead and pop out here and do a new game. If anybody has any suggestions, like I said, all you got to do is drop them down below. Another thing is, if you want a scenario or if you want a tutorial and you need some help with the game, you could actually turn the tutorial mode on or off. So you can click it here to turn it on, re-click to turn it off. And as you can see, if you actually go into the tutorial here, you've got the brief tour of the user interface, the economic mode, moving and fighting, international commerce, and colonial matters. And especially with Pride of Nations here, you're going to want to watch that, especially if you're playing the Grand Campaign, because there's a lot you're probably not going to be sure of, and you want to make sure to do the best job possible. So we might jump into the Boer War here, and does anyone know what the Boer War is without going to Wikipedia? I wonder if anybody knows. So I'm not even going to let you guys read that. You can pause and read if you want, but I want to see if you guys actually know what it is. So I'm actually going to play as the British. The British, that's right, during the Boer War. And one thing I'm going to do immediately is start to build some supply depots. So we are in South Africa. That's the only bit of advice I'm going to give you guys. And I'm hoping someone knows what the Boer War is, or at least an idea of what it was. I just kind of gave it away by leaving that screen up for a little too long. But basically, this is a fight between the Dutch that settled in South Africa. They call themselves Afrikaans. Of course, they believe they have their own states, sort of autonomous states. They've got the Transvaal states, and they've got the Orange Free State. And they have now declared war against us, the glorious British Empire. Why would they ever want to leave us? And, of course, now we have to go to war. There's a lot of really interesting films and books written about this conflict, and it's probably one of the conflicts that I see rarely touched upon in strategy games, if ever. It looks like our first battle occurred, and at Ladysmith Depot, British defeat on day one, 8,000 men lost. And of course, the enemy only lost about 3,720. And initially, with a lot of the tactics the Boers were using, guerrilla tactics at the time, of course, the British really weren't so sure what to do. They also had a lot of units that weren't exactly initially made for war. A lot of conscript companies, a lot of engineer companies, etc. So the Boers would eventually start picking them off here and there, and they did a pretty good job at it as well. The Orange Free State is separate from the main sort of what we know today as South Africa, but they're working together right now for the common good, which is to destroy us. And as you can see, Ladysmith has been taken. I'm going to try to run away to Natal, which is going to take 4 days, and hopefully we have some reinforcements arriving. And I already know we do, because once the British realized that this war was a serious one, and actually, people were about to get killed, they actually started sending quite a lot of reinforcements into this part of the world. So we're going to go ahead and hope that those reinforcements arrive sooner rather than later, and that we can escape with this general as soon as possible. Let's end the turn. Okay, let's see. So as you can see, these forces are getting quite strong, and I was expecting reinforcements already. So I'm a little disappointed. Although I'm assuming that if I was an actual British commander and this occurred, I would be disappointed. So I think we're going to go ahead and try to hold Natal. We're still going to wait for those reinforcements. I really want to attack, but I know you guys know me by now, and you're probably saying, don't attack, Agrippa, have patience. So we're going to stay here in Natal and try to retake the land here. Although the loyalty is totally British, for some reason it is somehow under Boer military control. It could be just part of the revolt itself. Let's go ahead and continue. Battle of Beaufort, British defeat. Once again, we're not going to be getting any victories here. We're hitting only 41 Boers and losing 1,742 men. I mean, the difference in losses here is tremendous. Of course, it does look like we're getting some of those reinforcements back. We got a 3-star general here, which is very good. We've got 2 3-star generals now, so that's really, really cool. I want to see if this force can join us. Yes, they can. We have more forces. Yes, we do, guys. Now we're starting to get the reinforcements, and I'm actually going to go ahead and go on full attack posture. I'm going to try to destroy the Transvaal force, and I'm going to try to take Ladysmith back all in the same turn. Is it tough? Of course it is, but, it's not worth fighting if it's not tough. And this is when, of course, our men are landing. They're on the coast of South Africa, and this is a perfect opportunity to go ahead and wipe out these Boers, retake our territory, and make sure its loyalty lies with England. Let's go ahead. We've got some more generals here. Man, we just keep getting luckier and luckier. Now there's a 15% penalty here. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to move in once again on an attack, a full attack, of course. And don't be shy, guys. Feel free to chat. We haven't had a lot of chat on this stream. Let's go ahead. Feel free. Make any suggestions you like. And let's go ahead and end the turn. Proceed to the next turn. And here we go. The first battle, finally a British victory. And as you can see, it wasn't an easy one British victory. We lost 14,000 men. The enemy lost 9,000. Although if you include the cavalry they also lost nearly 9,000 cavalry. So that's basically 18,000 men. We lost about 18,000 men, really, if you put all this together. Maybe more like 17,000 and 62 conscript companies. And this is another reason that there was a lot of confusion about the Boer War, and it was very controversial, is this is when the first concentration camps really started, where the British would take prisoners, South African prisoners, put them in not the greatest conditions, surrounded by barbed wire in, of course, the South African climate, which is very hot. And as you could imagine, a lot of people died that way. A lot of people met their end that way. But it's our first great victory. We've got to respect it, and we've got to continue forward. And at Kapstadt, we also had a victory. This is what you get when you start deploying your men from the sea. As you can see, the number of prisoners, we're getting so many prisoners from the Boers. They didn't expect us to fight back like this, and even the city of Worcestershire, I think that's how you pronounce it, Worcestershire, not Worcester, it's Worcestershire, managed to take this. So we're doing pretty good. We're starting to retake some of these areas. It's only going to take us 12 days to get into that area of South Africa. And we're going to grab these guys too and see if we can't charge into Bloemfontein. Bloemfontein is the Orange Free State's de facto capital. So taking it would be pretty awesome. I'm going to defend with this general. I just want to see if we can get a depot going. So let's get a depot. We desperately need some reinforcements for this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get some of them. But no, we might not have the money for reinforcements. We might actually have to go to our taxes. And let's increase the census tax. We'll increase the corporate tax. We're going to piss off everybody in our country. Although, as you can see, we're still not making really any profit. And that could be locked in this scenario. We could basically just be in a situation in this scenario where you have to accept what we've been given. And I'm assuming that's what's going on here. Now, I am going to continue forward into the Orange Free State. But look at that, 150 days. It's way too long, just ridiculously long to be able to get a victory here. So let's end the turn. All right, Battle of Bloemfontein, British victory, and that was a great one too. Nearly 7,000 enemies killed. We lost less than 1,000 men and 3 rounds, so it wasn't an easy fight. You could see the Boer militia, to me, it actually reminds me quite a lot of how the Confederate militia looks. But if you've ever seen, you know, sort of portraits of the Boers fighting during this time, or even a few photographs, they're going to be extremely old photographs. You could actually see the sort of flat-brimmed hat that they would wear. It was quite fascinating. Yes, there was photography in 1899, of course. It wasn't the best photography, but it existed. Let's also go ahead and get a supply depot up and going here. And if we just zoom out a bit, we can see the situation in South Africa. We do have control of the West. The center is in control of the Orange Free State and us. It's pretty much neutral, but it's very, very much in favor of the Boers in terms of the loyalty level. As you can see, building up loyalty in this campaign might be one of the hardest things. The South Africans want you out, and you want to stay in, you want to stick around for a little while longer. So this can get quite confusing for both sides. Now I'm going to keep on moving forward with these generals. Let's do that. And I'm also going to try to move forward with this unit and this one too. And we're not actually taking a lot of territory by doing this, but I like to think that even a little bit of territory taken back helps us tremendously. So let's go. Okay, a British victory here at East London. And unfortunately, to get that victory, we had to lose 3,000 men, while the enemy only lost 200. Not good. And every single one of those 200, you can see 2 here. Basically, one company equals 100. So since we've taken 2, we've taken all prisoners. Just imagine how frustrating that would be to have these guys kill your men and then be forced to not shoot a single one of them and take them prisoner. Yeah, I could see that really upsetting some soldiers. So let's go ahead and continue. And another victory at Bloemfontein. 389 men lost, and I must say, this is basically the last stand of the 300 for the Boers. As you can see, they only had 448 men. We had nearly 12,000. We lost 1,793 men. They lost 389, so they held out. Louis Botha, an actual national hero in South Africa, managed to hold us off. And another British victory at Ladysmith Depot. Over here, we managed to take it without really a shot being fired. We took all the men prisoner, so pretty fair fight. And Christoffel Froman is going to be one of our newest prisoners. And overall, not bad. Really not bad at all. Of course, what a surprise. As soon as we leave this area, a Boer army comes strolling through, just walking all over what we've just taken. And, of course, making our jobs a lot harder. Not what I was looking forward to, but it's kind of the way things work. So here we go. I think with John French, very important guy at this period. We're going to go ahead and just try to rebuild. I'm going to do the same here with Paul Methuen. And actually, I'm going to do the same with George White. Now, I'd like to bring some reinforcements to George White. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible considering the amount of time we have, but let's try. Let's at least try to bring some reinforcements to him. And we do have some money. Well, we have some money, but we have no private capital. I'm going to go ahead and try again to raise some forces. And no, it looks like it's totally locked. Great Britain has totally locked. What about GSC? No, 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 no. No, it's completely locked. So we're not going to be able to get any reinforcements, at least not now. But we can certainly end the turn. And of course, the glorious Queen Victoria, Prime Minister Lord Salisbury. This all actually adds to diplomacy, administration, and imperialism, depending on whether you're playing the Grand Campaign or just one of these missions. In these missions, it's not nearly as important, but in the Grand Campaign, of course, it's very important to keep all these things as high as possible. Let's go ahead, everything but, of course, inflation. Let's go ahead and continue. And British victory once again. He does it again, John French. Oh, my goodness. 1,912 men, nearly every single one of them taken prisoner once again. So these Boers, they fire a few shots. Once they see we've gotten them, they basically give up very quickly. And I quite like that. I think it's a fair way to fight. I don't feel particularly angry at my opponent. Just want to beat him and be over with it. And so far, we're actually doing a really good job. You can see we've more or less almost conquered the Orange Free State. We've taken their city of Bloemfontein. This city, of course, being very, very important to these guys. So we've actually done all right, all things considered. Okay, let's take a look here. And hello, everybody on both our YouTube and our Twitch. Good to see you guys, as always, as always. I think I want to move into Basuto. 25 days, man, that seems like it should take a little less time. But I guess we have to go through Winburg, which is actually another part of the Orange Free State, to be able to make it over here. So we'll go for an attack, why not? And with this unit right here, Methuen, I'm going to go into Calvinia and try to destroy that unit. Let's end the turn, guys. And a British victory at Ladysmith Depot with Mr. White here. Of course, pretty small fight, not really many men defending this area. And a British victory at Winburg Depot. Once again, not many men defending this area, 32 men. So the Boers are starting to pull back into their main territories, which is kind of in northern South Africa, a little deeper into the dark heart of Africa. We're of course, mainly situated on the coast. We get a lot of support from this area, as you could probably imagine. And this is where we're getting all of our reinforcements. So I'm actually going to take this guy. I'm going to try to still hit that general here, there of the Free State. We definitely don't need Free Staters moving around here willy-nilly. It's not going to help us one bit. And again. And a British victory at Winburg Depot. Again, another attack. 18 days, though, just to get there. And, of course, I'm going to attack with John French. His men, I think, are quite proud of their general. I'm also going to keep moving forward with George White. I think we should always remain on the offensive here. Let's end the turn. There we go, British victory. Not bad. Very even, actually, in terms of the casualty ratings. And victory. There we go, guys. Congratulations, sir. Britain has been ranked among the great powers. As you can see on both sides here, the Britain has achieved excellent results in every important sector of the struggle, and this has led you to the first step on the victory podium. Your score and prestige is the highest, at least twice that of the second best nation or more. This is an achievement that will be recorded in history. So we got a victory, guys, against the Boers, and mainly because we managed to push them back significantly. We really didn't allow them to hold on to a lot of the areas they were trying to hold on to. If we take a look here at the amount of lost men, this is something I always find interesting during these games. We lost 34,625, but look at the amount of prisoners we took. So for the South Africans, we took 7,800. For the other South Africans, they'd call themselves or refer to themselves as the Orangers or the Orange Free State. We took 6,200 prisoners. So this is just a massive amount of prisoners, essentially half of the men we lost. And over here you can see we've taken every single one of the important cities. The capitals, Pretoria and Bloemfontein, are the capitals of the Orange Free State and South Africa. The South African Republic, I should say. The South African Republic lost nearly 15,000 men, whereas the Orange Free State lost about 10,000. So despite winning, this was a Pyrrhic victory. We did get a victory, but they definitely showed that they could fight us on the open field and win. Of course, they've still got some land up here, so I would imagine if this continued, we would still have a lot of work to do before we could actually say that we completely won. But it's a decent start, I think. I like to think so anyway. Let's take a look over here. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to pop out one more time just to show those of you that don't have the game what you get when you purchase this game. So, of course, you've got the Grand Campaign. As I mentioned before, this is the largest AGEODS campaign that exists. 1,680 turns. It doesn't get much bigger than that. And if you can finish it, we should probably make some sort of prize, especially if you finish it with a good score. Of course, the Indian Mutiny, we played this in the beginning part of this stream, so if you missed it and you want to go back and see it, then you just need to go ahead and click Indian Mutiny, or watch the beginning of the stream, watch it there. But if you want to play it, go ahead and get the game, and you can absolutely either play as the Mughals or the British East India Company. Risorgimento, this is the Austrians against the French and the Italians. It will be quite an interesting fight here. The American Civil War, of course, one of the most famous, of course, games, or just wars in general for this game series, for AGEODS. We also have Civil War II in the AGEODS catalog, and when we last did an AGEODS stream using Civil War II, we had a lot of viewers, so people really do seem to enjoy the Civil War concept, and if you get Pride of Nations, you have a chance at playing it here as well. The Franco Prussian War, if you can win it with the French, you're incredible. This is the 1880 campaign, so you're not starting as early as you are in the other campaign. It's still long, but it's about half of the length as the other campaign, and it really lets you focus on the age of industry, the age of industrialism. We got the Second Boer War, which we just fought, getting an overwhelming British victory, and of course, the Russo-Japanese War. And I think one thing about Pride of Nations is the political and diplomatic factors in the game are very new for a sort of an AGEODS game, but also the kind of wars that are being tackled in this game are fascinating. I mean, these are wars that no other game I've seen tackles, especially the Russo-Japanese War and the Indian Mutiny and the Second Boer War. I just don't see anybody doing games on this, so that's one of the reasons I really love Pride of Nations. Once again, guys, if you enjoyed this stream, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel you're watching right now, as well as our YouTube channel. If you are on our YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our Twitch. If you're on our Twitch, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube, vice versa. I'm actually going to drop the Twitch link here for our YouTube fans on the Slytherin YouTube channel here. And that's going to be it, guys. We're going to go ahead and end this particular stream. But I do want to thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you had a good time. We have 17 viewers on Twitch, 8 on YouTube, and actually 2 on our Matrix YouTube channel as well. So we've got actually quite a few people here, and it's good to see you guys, at least for an older AGEOD game. And again, sometimes we like to really play one of these older AGEOD games to show the new players what we have to offer. And we also like to show the older players that have been with this series a long time that we still care about you guys. We're still working on these games and trying to make them the games that you absolutely love and adore to this day. So thank you again, guys, for stopping by. I really thank you so much, and I hope you have an excellent, excellent day. Take care, guys.